Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video. And the madness of the Darkmoon Faire has been out for a couple of weeks. Decks are starting to get a little bit refined. We're starting to figure out what's good in the game. And as people are notoriously tight on resources, one of the most common questions I get asked is, what's safe to craft? What cards are safe to craft? What decks are good and all that? Well, we've already highlighted the 5 best standard and wild decks a few days ago, but I thought I would go through, basically took a look at all the epics, all the legendaries from the latest set, and determine which are the safest to craft. And some will be a bit more wild oriented, but the majority will be standard focused. And I thought I'd let you guys know what the 10 most safe cards are to craft. And again, if you're feeling like on the fence about crafting stuff, just wait. There's always no harm in waiting. But if you really want to get in there, start playing, and you've actually built up a little bit of resources, a little bit of economy from your Battle Pass rewards, maybe you can throw it towards some of these cards that can help you finish off one of those decks that we mentioned in the prior videos. And again, I'll link the videos below in case you missed out on that, just so you know what legendary some of these can go into. But anyways, let's take a look at the top 10 safest cards to craft from the Darkmoon Faire. So I'm going to start off with the wild-oriented cards to craft. I believe I have 3 that I'm going to mention. So first, starting off, we have Blood of Huun. It's the Priest Epic minion. That's 9 mana, I believe 8/8 elemental. And at the end of your turn, you summon a 5/5 copy of a minion from your deck. So basically a free Shadow Essence. And yeah, if you want to play Big Priest, you want this card. This card fits right in there. And I don't see it going anywhere. It's already like took Yashiraj out of the deck because, you know, you only run a couple of minions because the second you hit this card off of Essence, especially with Palm Reading, you can cheat this out really early. It's very effective. And yeah, Big Priest is a good deck. And if you do want to play that, Blood of Huun is an absolute must craft at the moment. The next card I will suggest for wild mostly is Oh My Yogg, the Paladin secret. It's 1 mana, and basically the first spell your opponent casts is countered. Basically, they'll cast another random spell the same cost. And the other day I cast a swipe on my opponent's board, and it cast Cataclysm in wild. That was really fun. Lost my entire hand and my whole desire to exist, but it's really strong. It's like a 1 mana counterspell, and a lot of the times even the spell can backfire, like I said there. Sometimes it won't. I've had my Spreading Plague cast Vanish. That was pretty hilarious, but overall, it's super solid. Really good in Odd Paladin. You can put like Dew Paladin, Secret Paladin, a lot of different archetypes, but it's mostly for what I have seen popped up in Wild. I wouldn't be so surprised if this sees play in Standard at some point. It's just a really, really good card. And the last Wild-centric cards, there's 2 of them here, but I'm going to lump them together because they go in the same deck. For the most, actually, both of the same decks that you could put it in, is Occult Conjurer and Sage Seer of the Dark Moon. So you have your 4 mana 4/4 that gets a copy of itself if you have a secret up, and Sage Seer of the Dark Moon draws a card for every secret that's been activated this game, or cast, like procced this game. And yeah, it's insanely good in Secret Mage. It's just auto-include in any Secret Mage list. Sage is so good that it's taken Alaneth out of certain lists, and you can also run it in Reno Secret Mage, which is pretty good. You know, you only have 1 copy of each, but that's fine. You can only run 1 copy of Sage, period. And yeah, it fits into either Secret Mage archetype. Super solid, incredibly good. And if you really like those archetypes, you can't go wrong with these cards. The remainder of the cards will be mostly standard-oriented, but certain decks you might be able to slot them into wild. But first we have Inara Stormcrash, the Shaman legendary, 5 mana 4/5. Give your hero +2 attack in Wind Fury. This card has been very powerful in aggro Shaman. It runs a lot of cheap minions, burn, and this card just gives you more reach. I've even seen it in certain evolve lists just as a solid minion to throw in there. But yeah, it really stands out in aggro Shaman. Really solid card. And I can imagine this card is going to see a lot of play throughout its run, especially with rotation coming up. The card pool across the board is getting a lot worse, but this card right now is really good. So if you want to play some aggro Shaman, or just whatever type of aggressive mid-range Shaman, Inara is a really, really good fit. Next, we have Stilt Stepper. This is a Demon Hunter Epic. It's a 3 mana 4/1, and it draws a card. And if you play that card, you gain +4 attack. This card is insanely good in aggro Demon Hunter. Or you can play it in Odd Demon Hunter in Wild, and that deck has gotten a little bit better too. But yeah, it's basically a minion that's really annoying because it's got high attack, so you kind of need to kill because you take any minion damage from Demon Hunter, you feel like you're dead. And it draws a card, and a lot of the time you get like a free Heroic Strike out of it, which is ridiculous. It's a lot of damage. It's draw. It's just super good. If you want to play some aggro Demon Hunter, probably Odd Demon Hunter in Wild, you definitely want Stilt Stepper. You will not regret that at all. And we'll go with another Demon Hunter card while we're on the Demon Hunter train, and that's Ilginov, the 4-mana 2/6 lifesteal legendary that basically the lifesteal effects go hit your enemy instead of healing yourself, and it's incredibly powerful, whether you put it in Soul Fragment Demon Hunter, just as like a finisher, or whatever, just you can even tempo it out, whatever. It's just really good. And then there's a whole deck built around it, which is like a lifesteal OTK deck where you have like Moarg Artificers, copy them with Philosophy, and just can do an absurd amount of damage. I've seen upwards of like 60 to 80 damage you can do, depending on how you hit things with like Skull, things like that. So yeah, ridiculously good. My cat thinks it's so good that she's just got to jump across. But yeah, Ilginov, disgustingly good card, but this is more in Standard. But yeah, if you want to play either of those archetypes, Ilginov is absolutely 100% safe to craft. Next, we have a Druid epic spell called Guess the Weight. Basically, you draw a card, and then you see it, and then you guess if your next card will cost more or less than that card, and if you guess correctly, you will draw it. And I've been playing this in Wild, and it's been really good there. Most of the time, you're able to guess, because you have a good idea of what's left in your deck. Probabilities weigh that, and at the very worst, it's just 2-mana draw 1, which isn't horrendous. And yeah, it's good in Standard as well, and with the card draw options always more limited in Standard, I could see play. Well, it is seeing play. It's very solid. My only warning here is that Druid is not exactly that great right now in Standard. So if you're wanting to craft that Standard deck that has Guess the Weight in it, you might want to hold off a little bit. But overall, it's a really solid card, and if you are like just basically a Guess the Weight away from completing that deck you want to play, just throw it in there, because it's going to get a lot better as Druid gets, more support, or other decks, get nerfed that Druid can catch up. Guess the Weight will definitely fit into a lot of archetypes, and the fact that it already feels like it can fit into Wild, that's a pretty good sign. Next, we have Rinlings Rifle, the legendary hunter weapon. It's a 4-mana 2/2 weapon, and discover a secret, and then you cast it. So this weapon is really strong. You wouldn't think of it as a 4-mana 2/2 weapon, but those secrets are just very powerful. The flexibility of being able to discover one whenever you want, adapt to the current situation, rather than trying to hard run a secret that you got to predict if it's going to work. And then, of course, you have your synergies with all your other secret stuff. And yeah, this card is seeing a home in, of course, Secret Hunter, but as well as Highlander Hunter. It's really popular there. Basically, Highlander Hunter is turned into like a face secret variant, and this weapon fits in perfectly there. It's also not the worst thing in Wild, but Secret Hunter is not amazing in Wild. But yeah, Rinlings Rifle seems like it's going to be a staple in Hunter, in like the more mid-range-ish Hunters for a while. So if you want to craft that, I think it's a relatively safe craft for Hunter at the moment. Next, we have ETC God of Metal, Warrior Legendary. It's 2-mana 1/4, and every friendly rush minion basically that attacks deals 2 damage to the face. This is the staple in the ETC OTK Warrior, which is really popular, really good. One of the top decks in the game, and a lot of people really enjoy playing it. They just say it's really fun. I haven't given it a try myself, but I've seen so many people have so much success. A lot of rank 1 legends with it. It's a difficult deck to play, but ETC is an absolutely vital part of it, because it enables your win condition of OTKing your opponent. And it's a really sick card, and I rated it a 1 in my review, so yet another great notch on my belt on that part. But yeah, I definitely feel like you can be safe to craft it. That deck seems legitimate, and until Risky Skipper rotates or gets, I guess, nerfed or something, that deck is definitely going to be here to stay. And the last card that I could safely suggest crafting was my #1 rated card of the expansion, and that is Yogg Saron, Master of Fate. You spin the wheel, and crap can happen, whether you're pyroblasting, casting random spells, getting rush minions, eating minions, taking minions over. It's just very powerful. It's fit into a couple of decks, like there's been Control Warriors that have run it, seen it in Control Priests, Libram Paladin, seen it in Secret Rogue, Mage. Like, it's just, there's so many different decks that can utilize this legendary. You can play it in Wild too. I'm using my triple Yogg Druid, which is pretty terrible, but I play it, so you can do that. But no, overall, it's just a really insane card. It's like pretty much the only good old god at the moment. All the other ones are pretty underwhelming, but Yogg is a direct impact, can outright steal the game, And, you know, it's not quite as powerful as Old Yogg in my opinion, because I feel like getting just a bunch of random spells on average is better than a lot of the effects, especially like Summoning Rush, the random minions with the board can really backfire if you have a full hand. You only get a couple of 0-mana spells, that feels really bad, but overall he's really good, can really swing the game, and of course you can get some amazing stupid memories highlights with him, which is the crazy randomness. So those are my recommendations for the 10 safest cards to craft. And hopefully this gives you a little bit of peace of mind if you are on the fence on crafting some of these cards. And, you know, if you still don't feel comfortable, wait it out, see what happens, see how the meta develops. Maybe there'll be nerfs, something, and you'll feel better. But if you want to dive in there right now, these are 10 of the safest epics and legendaries from the latest expansion that you can definitely craft. So if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.